We're going to talk about protecting your mind and controlling your thoughts specifically. If you've been tracking with me, we are walking through the core of confidence. First, we started with our spirit, and today we're going to dive into what it means to protect your mind. Let's talk about it. Now, I have to start by telling you guys a story. Some of you may have heard this story before, but it's too good not to share. I've talked about it at Business Boutique, but this is a perfect example of a time, one of the many times, that my thoughts have just gotten away from me. Has that ever happened to you? Like it starts like you're having a normal day, something very normal happens, and then your mind just goes off the deep end. And before you know it, you are experiencing a completely different reality than what's actually going on. Well, let me just share with you. So I was spending one beautiful, special night by myself, okay? As a mom of 3 kids, this never happens. Peace, quiet, have a bubble bath, do whatever I want to. Decided to head down to the lake. Matt was gonna watch the kids, and I could just have a night alone. This was during the week. I didn't have work the next day. It was going to be so wonderful. So I got there, and I was like, I'm gonna do just exactly what I want to. What a gift, right? So I put on The Greatest Showman. I am just singing at the top of my lungs. I've got every light in the house on. I love a lot of lights, and where I was staying, is it's like in the country, middle of nowhere, not a lot around. So I wanted a lot of light to feel safe. And it did occur to me when I, was getting myself all set up for my special night alone, like, if it's so bright in here, like, could they see me out there? Outside the windows, the lake house has like floor to vaulted ceiling windows. So it was just a whole wall of windows. So I thought, if someone's out there, and I hope they're not at night in the middle of the country when I'm here by myself, if they're out there, they can see me. But like, no one's out there. No one's out there, right? No one's out there. So I decided to take on this project. That's what I like to do in my downtime, is just complete projects. I know it's weird, but I was like, I'm going to sew these curtains. I had these curtains I wanted to hem for the right length and all the things. I don't even know how to sew, but I was like, I'll figure it out. So I have a little sewing machine set up on my dining room table. I'm just pushing the fabric through. Just, it's a straight line. I mean, how can you mess that up? Greatest Showman is blaring. I am having a great night. It is just so bright. It's like we're in the middle of Vegas, lights on everywhere, music blaring, sewing machine humming. Things are going wonderful. And y'all, out of the middle of nowhere, the lights went out. It was pitch blackness. I couldn't even see my hand in front of my face. I start feeling around. I grab my phone, trying to get my little flashlight to see if I can see something. And y'all, in this moment, I know exactly what has happened. The killer is outside. Like, it's a perfect setup. This is just like it is in the scary movie. So I start reaching around, like, I need something to defend myself. I need something to defend myself because he's gonna come inside. So here's what I do. I go into the kitchen, I go to the knife block, and I pull out a butcher knife. And I'm ready. And I'm waiting because I know that any minute he's gonna come inside. In fact, I'm like, well, before he gets here, I'm gonna light some candles. So I start lighting candles, light candles all over the house. Now, I love candles, so I just had like 50 candles. And as I'm sitting in the middle of this room with 50 candles and a butcher knife and a cell phone flashlight, it occurs to me in that moment that the terrifying person in this situation is me. Okay, so we can turn on some lights now. I'm actually starting to legitimately get scared. Can we turn on some lights? Oh, that's better. Okay, so listen. So I'm sitting there, and my heart is racing, and my palms are sweating, and I'm thinking this killer is coming inside any minute. And then I think, I gotta go. Like, I gotta get out of here. He's gonna come in here. This butcher knife's not enough. I don't even really know how to use it, like in the movie, so I gotta go. So I take my phone, flashlight, my butcher knife, and I kid you not, I blow out the candles as fast as possible. I head for the car, and I drive all the way to Nashville, Tennessee from Alabama. My husband called me, and he even was concerned because it's like 10 o'clock at night, and he's like, babe, I'm a little concerned about you driving so late. And I was like, I'm so wired I could drive to California. Now listen, I'm gonna put my knife up here. Here's the reality of what went on that night. The power went out due to storms. Yeah, storms. According to the neighbors, the power was back on about 15 minutes later. But you know what? That didn't matter, because that wasn't the story I believed. I believed some killer was outside, and I had a physical reaction, palms sweating, heart pounding, racing around the house, and literally driving all the way to Nashville, Tennessee, completely abandoning my plans because of a story I believed. Now, that story wasn't true, of course, but it doesn't matter, because it's the story I believed. That is the power of your mind. That is the power of your thoughts. We all have stories and narratives that play in the background of our mind all day, every day. And some of them are true, but many are not. And it doesn't really matter what is true if you don't believe it. Because what you believe is what you will experience. I want to say that again. What you believe is what you will experience in your life. The story you believe is the story you will experience, whether it's true or not. You know, I shared in the last episode about struggling with understanding and really believing that my husband loved me. And God revealed to me one day in church that that was a lie I had been believing. It was a lie, y'all. A lie. The man loves me. The man has loved me since he met me. He pursued me for 7 months when I turned him down and did not give up and pursued me because he loves me so much. He would do anything for me. But it doesn't matter if I don't believe it. Because if I don't believe it, I won't experience it. If I don't believe it, I won't live in it. The stories you believe, the thoughts that you accept and hold matter. The stories you believe and the thoughts you have, they shape your behavior, they shape your reality, they make up your life. They make up your entire life. Some of you right now might be watching this, and you are living and experiencing a lie, and you don't even know it. My husband doesn't love me. My mother-in-law doesn't like me or accept me. She thinks her son could do better. My kids are never gonna turn into who I want them to be. They're gonna, make bad choices. My boss thinks I'm a failure. I'm never gonna amount to anything. The thoughts we have, the thoughts we hold, shape our behavior and shape our life. And what's fascinating is, and I won't get into all this, but what's fascinating about the power of our thoughts is that often the thoughts we have direct our behavior and our behavior directs our reality. We actually create the outcome we didn't want. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I had a friend that would tell me over and over again, yeah, my mother-in-law doesn't like me. My in-laws don't like me. They just don't like me. They don't like me. They don't accept me. They think their son could do better. And so you know what happened? Because she genuinely believed this, she acted like a weirdo around her in-laws. A weirdo with a chip on her shoulder and defensive and all closed down and giving one-word answers and the silent treatment. Acted like a total weirdo. So what did her in-laws do? Probably act like they didn't like her. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. Doesn't matter if it was true. Doesn't matter how it started. It was a story she believed. And that story came true. There's also another fascinating term in psychology called confirmation bias. What confirmation bias means is that your brain, as a survival mechanism, all humans have this, your brain is constantly scanning your environment, looking for information to validate thoughts you already have. Thoughts you've already, proof. It's looking for proof. To say, oh, these are the beliefs already held true, so I'm gonna look for proof of that. I'll give you a really practical example. Depending on how you've experienced this pandemic and the coronavirus, you have found, guarantee you have found articles to validate your position. That's what you found. Now, there's articles all over the map out there, y'all. You can find articles that are going to show you every possible perspective and research and stats and numbers. It's all over the freaking map. But you have an idea about this based on your experience, what you've learned, what you've seen, what you've heard. And you're going to find things that validate that. That's called confirmation bias. You're looking for proof that what you believe is right and true, and it's true in anything. So I believed, in my example with my husband, I believed my husband didn't love me. Why? I don't know why. Because of past wounds, because of stories that started early in my childhood that I wasn't loved. It doesn't matter. But then I was able to find proof. Because when I wanted to tell my husband something exciting and he seemed distracted, see, doesn't love me. Or I asked him to go on a date and he's like, I think we ought to stay in tonight because it's, I'm tired or whatever. See, told you he didn't love me. My brain is looking for proof. to validate the story I believe. Story wasn't true. Wasn't true. Couldn't have been further from the truth. But it didn't matter because that's what I believed. It doesn't matter what is true. It matters what you believe, because what you believe is what you will experience in your life. That's the power of your mind. That's the power of the thoughts that you have. Now, what I love about this idea and this topic is that this is one of those topics that Scripture actually has a lot to say about. God has a lot to say about our thoughts, what we think about, what we set our mind on. It's not one of those topics where it's like, oh, how does God feel about life balance? I don't know. It's not in here. No, He has a lot to say about our mind. So I want to give you some specific scriptures as we're walking through this. Romans 12:2 is one I'm sure you're familiar with. It says, do not conform any longer to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. Isn't that what we all want? What is God's will? What is God's plans for you? What is God's direction? It says you will find it when you renew your mind. That means it's possible. It's possible to renew your mind. It's possible to have new thoughts. It's possible to retrain your brain, to find the truth in the lies, to break through the stories and limitations that have been holding you back. It's possible. It wouldn't say it if it wasn't possible. It's possible, which is good news for me and you. And then also, I want to go to Colossians first. I'm going to give you one more. Colossians, this is 3:2. Set your mind on things above, not on earthly things. And then I want to wrap up here with Philippians 4. This is Philippians 4:6. And I'm sure you've heard this before, but I want you to hear it in the context of this topic. It says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God. Can you imagine having peace in your mind? Sounds amazing. The peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Here it is again, in Christ Jesus. And then I love this. Finally, brothers, sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. What should I think about, God? Oh, I'll tell you. Whatever is right, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, admirable, excellent, praiseworthy, think about. What should I think about? What should I control my mind to? I'll tell you. There's another verse that I love. Take every thought captive, and I'm going to talk more about that later with Jenny Allen. This is powerful and important because if you're going to build confidence in yourself, in who you are, in your identity, and in who God is and what he says about you, we've got to control our thoughts. I won't go into all of the background in Genesis, but if you just look at the original temptation, the words out of the serpent's mouth were, did God really say? It was doubt. It was planting doubt in our minds, and we have fallen for it ever since. If we want to build confidence, we have to protect our mind. And I don't know about you, but the voice in my head is mean. Mean. It thinks awful thoughts, and if I don't check those and I don't stop those and control those, then I'm going to actually believe those and then have behavior that creates those experiences. No. There's something you can do. You actually can control your thoughts in a practical way. And I know this sounds really silly, but I just want to give you 2 questions you can ask yourself. This isn't for, you can journal if you want to, but I just really want you to reflect on these 2 questions. When you find your thoughts spiraling and that voice is getting mean and it's just punching you and beating you down and coming after you, one mean thing after another, and you know that voice, I know it, it's there. When that starts going, I want you to stop and ask yourself this question. Is this what God says about me? Is this how God talks to me? If you even so much as ask yourself, is this how God talks to me? Y'all, it will cut through the lie so fast because that tone of that voice is not the voice and the tone of your loving Father. He does not talk to you like that. And you know it, and I know it. Stop that thought pattern by simply asking yourself, is this how God talks to me? Oh, no. No, you don't have to be a victim to those thoughts anymore because you immediately can shine light in the darkness and see that it's not from God. A second really practical question you can ask yourself when you find your thoughts just going off the deep end, or maybe they're just worries, they're practical worries because you're concerned about something. Ask yourself this: is this thought serving me? Is this thought beneficial to me? Do you know you are allowed to choose thoughts that are beneficial and those that aren't? If you've got thoughts beating you down, worrying you to death, like those aren't beneficial to you, you don't have to hold on to them. My friend Melissa says your mind is multi-million-dollar real estate. Be very selective about what you let reside there. You get a choice in what you think about. And if that thought, even if it's practical, even if there's some basis for it, if it's not serving you, you don't have to entertain it. You don't have to. I don't know about you, but I want to control my thoughts in a way that not only allows me to build more confidence in myself, but it brings me closer to God. It brings me closer to who He is and what He wants for my life. And I believe the same is true for you. So if you want to build confidence in yourself and the God that created you, a massive, important step in that journey is to protect your mind.